Welcome, welcome. This is Kim Ades from FOM Coaching, and I am the host of Resilience Radio, where I interview experts who are professionals at crushing the tough stuff. Before I introduce my guest, I want to give you a journaling question to consider. Please grab a piece of paper and a pen and write this question down. What rules from your childhood do you disagree with now that you're an adult? So as you look back on your childhood and you think about the rules that your parents gave you or the rules that your parents didn't give you but you thought were there anyway, what rules did you grow up with that now when you look back don't seem to be as relevant, as important, or even useful? Take a moment and journal about that. And if you have some time, send me your journal. My email address is kim@frameofmindcoaching.com. Today, I'd like to introduce a very interesting guest. His name is David Mansilla. Before I say hello to David, I want to share with you some of his incredible accomplishments. He's an entrepreneur, owns a company called ISU Corp. And he's a Canadian like me. I'm always excited to be talking to Canadians. But he's been granted awards like Company of the Year from Technology Headlines and top 50 most innovative companies to watch. And interestingly enough, he's been chosen as a recipient of the Canadian Business Excellence Award for 2019 for what? For outstanding company culture and effective processes. So David, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. I want to learn a little bit about what you do in your company. You run a software company, but you build custom software. So give us an example of what that is, who it's for, what kind of software do you make?
For sure. So the only reason why we're in business is to increase our clients' profits with exceptional custom software solutions. So basically what that means is that we get approached by clients where they can see an opportunity to increase their profits with software, to either by creating more sales revenues, so increasing sales, or by reducing costs with business automation. So to give you an idea, so that covers a whole variety of technologies. But just to give you an idea, one of our clients is a 100% online insurance company, and we're helping them create more business by automating the entire policy quotation and purchasing system online.
So does that mean that if I was interested in purchasing insurance, I could just get a quote online without having to wait or talk to anybody, any agent on the other side?
Exactly, and even further, if you want to actually buy the policy, you can go ahead and do it online too.
Okay, so you're eliminating the need for a lot of people.
Yes, which was the mandate from this client that I have, right? So They saw the need, and especially for millennials nowadays, they don't want to talk to people; they just want to do it all on the internet, right?
That is very true. So that is one example. Curious to know, how do you build a team that accommodates so many different business needs? How do you build a software team that is so adaptable?
So this is where our secret sauce is, and basically what you have to do is look for the rock stars wherever they live, and not only rock stars in the software development practice, software developers, but also in attitude. Actually, most important is the attitude of the people that we hire. So we try to find brilliant people technically, but also people that their values matches our values, so that we know that we can coach them into our culture and they're going to add value to our clients.
So how do you even test for that? How do you assess whether or not they have the right attitude and the right values? And this is really a question for all of our listeners that they would like to know the answer to, because they own businesses and they say, how do I find the rock stars? I find people, but they're not always rock stars. How do I get rock stars?
Yes. So basically, it's a long process. So for us, it could take between 3 and 5 months for somebody to get hired at the company. So, and software developers, especially the good ones, they're in high demand. So the people that want to work for us, they really feel that they want to belong to the family. And we do that on purpose, because we have been blessed to create a culture for the last 13 years, a culture of honesty. We believe that we're a family and we're here to protect each other and to grow each other and to make this world a better place with our work. And based on that, people are noticing, and now they want to line up because also of the work-life balance that we provide. We believe that people have to have autonomy in their lifestyle as long as they are efficient and they delight our clients. So
are you saying that you get people who hear about you and they just want to be part of your team? So you have a lineup of people who want to join you? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. In fact, our hiring Rolodex is bigger than our sales pipeline.
Wow. So how did you make that happen?
It was a painful process and a lot of learning, but the minute that I started investigating, so I was growing the company like any other company was, grows before, trying to bid for people with more salaries or more perks, until I realized when you hire people that way, it just takes a couple of dollars for them to move on to the next company. Right? Because if they weren't here for their heart and for their soul, they were here just for the money or for the beer at the fridge or Fridays working from home, right?
Right. So you have beer in your fridge? Okay. Yeah.
No, we don't, but a lot of tech companies do.
Okay.
So I realized there's got to be a better way to do it. So I started researching the best companies in the world and their cultures. So I read most of the Virgin's, Richard Branson's books. I read the founder of Zappos book, and I just submerged myself into what makes a great culture, why these companies exist and why they don't need managers to be on top of their employees. And it was about a 5-year process until, and I'm not done yet actually, but
so wait. This is very important. What did you discover? What does make a great culture? How do you build a great culture? If you were any entrepreneur, they're struggling with their culture, what would you advise based on what you learned?
My advice first is you have to change yourself. So the leader has to have a great culture with himself first. Mm-hmm. You have to know about your values, and not only know your values, but live your values. Right. So in our case, it's honesty, transparency, willingness to help out, and willingness to make this world a better place, no matter what. Right. Yeah. Our foundation is we start with gratitude, and then we go with growth, and then we go with contribution, and we try to make sure everybody in the company is following the same goals. So those are our goals. We start our day with extreme gratitude. What a life
as a group
together, individually first, and then as a group.
But how do you do that? Do they write about it, or do you have a call, a huddle once a day? How do you do that?
No, it actually happens automatically, and that's because of our hiring process. So everything starts with values. So you look for the people with the right values, the values that align yourself, the person with our values.
No, I understand, but I want technically something. I want to understand something. If you say we start our day with gratitude individually, then as a group, what is each individual doing? How do you know that they're doing the gratitude thing?
Well, we built a tool back in 2013 called HubLinked, and the sole purpose of that tool is to put everybody in the same line of thoughts as I wanted to share and as I wanted to grow the culture. So we have one person that the only job of this person is to make sure our culture is marketed among everybody else. So we are writing always inspirational messages. We're always writing blogs about how to improve yourself, focus on the individual, and why gratitude is important. And then,
so are you saying that every day there's an internal newsletter that talks about gratitude?
Yeah, gratitude, growth, and contribution on those 3 things. So we actually, if you actually look at our marketing campaign in Facebook, has nothing to do with software development and everything to do with these three items. So we actually post the message in our company first, and then the messages that have the most likes internally, we're already blessing our people. Then it goes out into Facebook, and we try to bless people unconditionally outside of the company too.
Okay, so I really need to understand this. Okay, it's very important. So I need to understand. So basically you hired someone to be, let's call it the culture director, yes?
Yes.
Or is that more of a marketing director?
It's a culture director.
Okay, a culture director. And the job of the culture director is to continuously send out messages internally in the company to really inspire and promote the values of the company. Is that accurate?
That's 100% accurate.
Okay. And then, and when you say we bless, what does that mean? Is that religious?
No. When you say blesses to somebody, you can take it in any kind of way. But for us, it's, when you sneeze, somebody tell you, God bless you, right?
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
It means that they notice you sneezed and they're being polite.
Yes, but the connotation of that is, I hope you're getting better soon. Like your sneezing is because are you getting a cold, or I hope you are not getting sick.
Okay.
So, right? So when we say you blessing other people, it basically try to do good unto others without expecting anything in return.
Okay. So what might a blessing sound like? Is that something that you write in that newsletter, or is that you walk around and you say, bless you, bless you, bless you?
No, we don't use the word blessing. I'm just telling you what we do, and we consider it's a blessing, right? But for example, we may find an inspirational post that somebody else wrote on a blog. We find that is powerful, and then we share that with people, and then we write what we think about that. And then there is a conversation that happens, and then everybody is engaged, right? I cannot tell you that every single person in the company starts with their day with gratitude, but we try to make sure that everybody is aware that they have to be thinking about gratitude, for example, right?
Okay, so how do you, going back to your screening mechanism, how do you know that they share your values? Like I could tell you, yes, I always, I have a gratitude journal and, because I think that's what you want me to say. How do you know for sure that the values are in fact accurate?
So to begin with, we try to filter people, and we are successful about 80% of the time.
Okay.
From time to time, we get somebody that is not a good match, and that's why we have our 3-month policy, right?
Okay.
But we are getting better and better at this. And we have 3 different psychological exams that we pass to people. And at the last person that interviews the person is me. And I usually go by my gut feeling.
Okay. Psychological exams. So these are like assessments.
Assessments, yeah. So the first one is a written interview. The other one is a verbal interview, and the last interview I make. And the questions, we've been improving on the questions from over the years. For example, one of the questions is, what do you think your parents, your mom or your dad, think about you when you engage in this and this situation? So there are questions. Be
more
that you
specific.
have to look
Give me
inside.
The situation.
Pardon?
Can you share that specific? What kind of situation?
Yeah. So, for example, let's say we're testing integrity, right? Yeah. What would your mom think about you if you catch somebody else stealing? Are you going to, and you are not going to tell this to somebody else, or you are not going to confront that person because you decided that you're too embarrassed to confront it? And then we start digging deep into that, right?
Wow.
So now they are complicated questions.
So in other words, very complicated.
Yeah. But even, there's people that are very skilled, and they actually, some bad people get through the filter sometimes. But like I said, every year we get better and better at this.
So let's take that as an example, because it's very interesting. So let's say you see someone stealing and you don't confront it, and what would your parents say? So you're really trying to see, what values did you grow up with?
Exactly. Or what values do you actually have? What do you look for in people? Like, is it a white lie, good or bad? And we put tough situations on that too, right?
So what kind of, okay, I won't give away your secret. I'll leave it. I was going to say, what kind of answer is a good one for that one?
Well, it really depends because the questions are joined together. Because you're not going to get the right answer with one simple question and the person could be nervous, right? So what we do is we try to open up the person with simple questions and then we dig deeper until we find the real value or what they think the real value is.
Wow. And how did you learn this technique?
Over the years, reading tons of books and asking for business psychologists and experts in the field.
Very, very interesting. Whoever is listening to this podcast, you need to make a note of this technique of asking questions to get at the source, at the heart of values. It sounds a little bit like your coaching, to be honest. It's the kind of thing we do as coaches, to get at the heart of matters, really dig deep by asking people to tell us their stories, right? To help us understand how they see the world, their perspectives.
Exactly. And sometimes people don't even know what transparency means. Like, okay, so what's transparency to you? Like, or, what's integrity? What's integrity? Like, they don't know, right? And then when we ask the questions, it's like, okay, this person has the value. He just doesn't know what it means.
Right. And I'm sure that happens quite a bit. So you said something before that was interesting to me because I don't think I've ever heard another entrepreneur actively say this other than maybe me. And you said, we don't want to be on top of our employees.
Oh, no. The more autonomous they are, the better it is for everybody.
Yes. Right? So how do you build a culture of autonomy? Like right now in the world, there's a big, big push towards accountability, which can contradict this concept of autonomy. Holding people accountable.
Yeah, so it can contradict for sure. But that goes back to attitude and goes back to values, right? So if you're an adult, the problem with today's world, and actually it's been a problem forever, if you look at employee engagement in corporate North America, it's not even higher than 33%. So people are heavily disengaged at their jobs. And you know why? Because there is always somebody on top of people to make sure the job gets done. There is always pressures. There is always all these rules. And so people feel that they're in high school still. People feel that they have a principal and they have essays to write and deadlines to commit. And of course, we have deadlines to commit, and we have to be efficient and responsive, and we have to do whatever it takes to delight our clients. But at the same time, we should be mature enough and adults enough in order to deliver without having somebody in our back all the time, or somebody breathing on top of us every single day. What you doing? Right?
And, I couldn't agree more.
Right. So, and we have built processes in place that guarantees that people get the job done on time and under budget. So that's another reason why we are getting so many awards on processes too, because culture alone, it's amazing, but you have to have the process in place too, so that you are actually delivering, you're actually, delighting your clients.
Right. So go back to that for a quick moment. What is an example of a process that you make sure that projects are done on time and under budget? Give me an example. Because especially in the software world, I've been around, things are usually late.
Exactly, and that's why we're so successful.
Okay. So how do you explain a process specifically related to that?
So it's funny because it's so simple nobody believes it's so simple. So the whole concept is divide and conquer, right? So we grab requirements for a 6 months project. We divide it into smaller chunks. Those chunks, we call it sprints. It could be 2 weeks or it could be 4 weeks. The methodology is called Agile Scrum, but we have a customized methodology that optimizes that, because we don't write our own products. We write products for our clients, so we're responsible to a budget. So we make something called the release plan that estimates how long the project will take, and then we divide into smaller chunks. And then for us, those smaller chunks is like finishing a mini version of the project. So whatever it is we think we can deliver in that 15 days or that month, we make sure it gets delivered. And how we determine that? By getting the engineers, getting the business analysts to estimate how long it will take. On top of that, we have a daily checkup where they say, okay, I'm doing okay with my tasks, or I'm behind, I have a question. So they don't wait until the end of the sprint, to the end of the delivery to have the question answered. They ask the question when the question arises. So it's about enhancing communication too.
Right. So you don't let anybody suffer in silence. They know that it's okay for them to raise their hand early on in the game.
Yeah, and the earlier they raise it, the more money everybody saves. Right?
Yeah.
And also, on top of that, because we're a professional services firm, we also have a weekly executive summary meeting and an executive summary report. That's one of the things that nobody else does, that we actually enforce. And basically, even we have 30-day cycles or 15-day cycles, we still have a weekly meeting with our clients to ensure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, to clarify any questions, and to resolve any issues on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm. So it's amazing. But things weren't always this smooth sailing. You had some adversity along the way.
Oh my God. Oh yes.
So what was your greatest experience historically in the past that you had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
So one of my worst like terror projects, I won't say who we did it, but it was a government organization, and they only work on fixed cost projects. We decided to go for it. It was a rather large project, and we were giving a set of requirements, and then every time we deliver something, they will actually add on more requirements, and they wanted to give it with the same budget. And we ended up working for free for more than 3 months. Because one of our promises to our clients is that we rather go bankrupt than leave any client hanging.
Wow.
So we're willing to actually get abuse from bad clients if we are foolish enough to choose them on the first place. And it has happened to me about 3 times, but it happens less and less often now because of the processes that I have in place. And because I know how to choose my clients better now.
So you lost money for 3 months, but you sucked it up and you did it anyway.
And the client was happy, and now I have a reference from them. Right.
And was there ever any dark period in the history of your career in this business?
Dark period? Well, yeah.
We're entrepreneurs. We have dark periods, right?
Yeah, I have dark periods. Like I actually was having a bad moment this morning. The dark periods come when you don't know how to manage your energy. I consider human beings as like having like a battery, right? If you don't recharge that battery, if you don't know how to manage your energy, then you don't feel good, and if you prolong that, you begin to make mistakes, and then you start getting into a dark side, and before you know, you're treating people badly, and you're gelling, and nothing is working, and you feel that the world is against you.
Yeah.
So what I have done to manage that is, again, personal growth, and whatever I learned for me, I make sure my people learns it. So because we're human beings and everybody goes through those peaks and valleys, right? So the idea is try to minimize that so everybody is happy most of the time.
So how do you manage your energy? Like, what do you have a technique you use when you get up in the morning? Do you take a break? Do you go for a walk? Do you journal? Do you meditate? Do you have a way to recalibrate when things are a little dark?
So I do most of those things. So I believe that if you manage your day, then you manage your life. So it starts with the day, and that's the problem. People think, I'm going to get this done in a month, or I'm going to get this done this next year. But what's the little bit of portion of that you got to do today to accomplish your goal, right? So daily rituals for me is the most important part of my daily life, because if I don't manage my day, if I don't manage my energy, I will not be able to be a high performance individual, right? So to give an example, I wake up every morning. The first thing I do is I have a book at home, and it's 100% positive feedback. So I make sure these books that I'm reading is teaching me something to put my mindset in a positive way. So I already have a positive injection. After that, I hit the shower, and then I do my priming.
You're a primer.
Oh, I do prime, yes.
I have several clients who do priming. Yes. Okay, tell people, I've never spoken about priming. Tell people about your priming ritual.
So a primary ritual is basically a way of meditation, but it's more like a mindful meditation. Like I have tried to meditate, putting my mind into a blank state and thinking about nothing, and it hasn't happened for me. So I discovered mindful meditation after that, which is fantastic because you are actually focusing on something. For example, affirmations. So what I do is I go through a process of gratitude first. So I close my eyes and I think about 3 things that I'm grateful for today, right? After I actually do that, then I go into healing mode. So I think of a big energy, and I ask, for me is God. I'm a Christian person, so throughout my meditation, I'm praying. And I'm saying, okay, God, please heal me from top to bottom, right? Manage my energy. Make sure I get invigorated. And then after that, I go into sending energy to people, because where energy,
Mm-hmm.
what you focus on is where your energy goes.
Agreed.
Right? So I just mentally think about, making sure the people that I find that are in trouble or people that are sick, I just try to send them my best wishes through energy, right?
Okay.
And I don't want to sound like, I don't want to sound like I'm running a cult over here or anything, but that's the way I do it, right? and then after that, I celebrate. So I'm feeling happy, and I'm in celebration mode because I'm alive and because all the things that I have been able to accomplish so far. And then I think about 3 things that I want to accomplish in the day. And when I think about them, I think about them as if they are already accomplished, right?
Mm.
So I'm thinking, okay, those are my 3 priorities. They're already done. How am I going to feel when they are already done? Mm-hmm. What's that emotion? By the time that I finish that meditation, it takes between 10 and 20 minutes. I'm ready to rock the day.
Baby.
Right?
Okay. So what you're doing is you're literally managing your energy. You're putting yourself into a peak state, a state of excitement, energy, optimism. You're looking forward to what's about to come. You're also giving yourself a chance to be okay with any adversity or challenge you've experienced, kind of put it behind you and face forward. Sounds exactly like that, right? Yes.
It's exactly like
amazing.
that.
Amazing.
And,
okay.
Another thing that I have discovered regarding energy, since about 6-7 years ago, I decided that I need to take care of my health if I want to be a high performer. Before then, I didn't care about my health. Now I do. And so I've been experimenting with a lot of different things from eating 7 meals a day to working out 3 hours a day to do it every other day.
I have
works? Tried every single
that sounds
diet
very extreme.
Universe. Yeah, I have tried every single diet in the universe. And the funny part is that what's the simplest was the most effective, at least for me. So since about 1.5 years ago, I read a podcast with Tim Ferriss and Art Devani. And Art Devani, this gentleman, he's an 82-year-old person, and he has done a lot of research on how to manage your energy to actually keep yourself younger as long as possible without any intervention. And turns out that the secret is fasting, which is the simplest way. Right. So what I try to do is from Monday to Friday where I'm working, I don't need anything from the time I wake up until dinner.
Wow, that's a long time.
So I try to do at least 16 to 17 hour fast, but the norm is about between 20 and 24 hours fast. So
that's a lot of time without food. Don't you get headaches? Don't you feel dizzy, weak? Yeah, don't you feel like you need a little bit of something to sustain you?
Yeah, the first 3 weeks, they were horrible. And then my body got used to it. And now I don't even think about food anymore. And the funny part is that once I'm working, my brain feels like it's laser beam focused in whatever I'm doing. And I have high levels of energy to the point that now I only work out 3 times a week from working out every single day. But when I go fasted, and I make sure I don't eat after I work out. And you will not believe the energy that I get out of that.
Wow. So you fast all day. This is more than intermittent fasting. It sounds like it's a bit more rigorous.
It's a version of intermittent fasting for sure. Like I said, sometimes I have business lunches and I actually will have lunch, or on the weekends for sure I do nothing but eat.
Okay,
Right.
do you have kids?
I have 3 kids. Yes.
How old are they?
28, 24, and 20.
Okay, what is the most important thing that they have learned from you over the years?
I think it's values and the pursuit of happiness, right? Like it's everything in the world is meaningless if you are not pursuing happiness on every single day. And I think they have realized that happiness is a choice. Many times we cannot control what happens to us, but we are in full control on how we react to what's happening.
So would you like to be a coach for Frame of Mind Coaching? It sounds like you've already done your homework.
Thank you. But I'm a little busy for that right now.
You're a little busy. Well, you know, we'll put you on as like the special instructor.
For sure.
Amazing. Okay, one last question as we are completing our interview. You have a coach on the line, but again, you could be the coach. Is there a question that you have for this coach, me, Kim?
Just for sure. How do you find the strategy to be able to find out what the other person on the other line is having the issues? Because, you know, I can tell you that I'm not feeling well and, you know, something is bothering me at work, but I'm just crying out for help, and that might not be the real problem.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm going to answer that in 2 ways, okay? So, as a coach, people hire us to coach, right? Like, so they're willing to tell us their story. But really great coaches are asking questions. So, you know, before we get to that, there are a few things that we ask them to do. So, number 1 is we ask our clients to journal every single day in an online journal. And when they journal, they may be just like that. I'm not feeling well, you know, something's off, and they're not really getting to the heart of the problem. Our coaches are trained to really dig underneath and ask questions. Sometimes what we do is we say, you know, what do you think is causing you not to feel well? And they might say, I don't know. And then we might say, well, try guessing. Right? Why try guessing? Because when they guess, it doesn't matter if they're guessing right or wrong. What they're doing is they're putting something on the table for us to explore. The other way is true also. A coach could say, is it because of this? Is this something that's bothering you? And again, the coach doesn't need to be right. But if the coach offers something, then the person on the other side of the phone or the table will say, no, it's not really that. It's more like this. So understand that your role isn't to be correct. Your role is to create an environment, a situation, I'll use the word culture, where you're offering something up for discussion so that we can both increase our understanding. Right? And so the question is, how do you do that? A lot of times when people journal, they'll say, oh, well, I had a talk with John and John was angry with me. And, you know, here's what happened. And they give us just a little bit of the story. My job as a coach is to really understand the whole story. So how did you react? What did you say? Then what did he say? Really understanding the story allows us to help to really understand a person's perspectives, and I'm going to use a specific word, but understand their beliefs, right? Because the way a person feels emotionally is a reflection of their thinking and their beliefs. So if I can understand their thinking and their beliefs, then I can coach them more effectively. Are you following me?
Yes. So
Yes.
It's almost like peeling the onion type thing, right?
It's 100% peeling the onion, but it's a little bit like the interview you described, right? You gave a situation. Well, for me, what I'm interested in is the details of a story, but also the reaction of the person in front of me. So, you know, the same thing can happen to you and me, right? We could both get a call from someone saying, hey, I would like your help with X, Y, and Z. For you, it could be a problem, a pain. You don't have time for that. You know, it's a stress on you. For me, it could be the biggest compliment. right? Wow, they're asking me for help. That means they value my assistance, right? Two different people, the same situation, two different reactions, and that reaction is based on your experience, your perspective, and your beliefs. And what I'm interested in is when I'm coaching someone, what their perspective is, what their beliefs are. And sometimes their beliefs lead them to experience happiness, and a lot of times their beliefs lead them to experience pain or struggle.
Fascinating.
What do you think? What do you think?
Fascinating.
Yeah. So it is very interesting to talk to you because I think that you've done a lot of work on yourself. You've done a lot of personal development work, and that's something that is probably your single greatest focus. And what I'm excited about is I coach leaders, and I focus on their development so that they can have the kind of impact you're having in their businesses and in their families and their communities. And you're the perfect citizen, you could say, because you're focused on your own development, and that's having a trickle-down effect on your whole entire world, on your whole entire community. We can hear your energy. We can hear your passion. We can hear your conviction. And what you're really telling us today is, as a leader, if you're not doing your own personal work, nothing else really works properly. Did I get that right?
Correct. It's like, when you go on an airplane and they tell you, you have to put the oxygen mask first and then you put it on your child. Because if you try to help somebody else and you're not getting the proper nutrition, you're both going to die.
So, right. So, and usually I finish the interview at this point, but I have one question. What made you start to work on yourself? What was the pain you were experiencing right before that when you said, okay, I'm done. I have to focus on me?
Yeah. So, I consider myself usually a good individual.
Yeah.
But as I started growing my business, I experienced exponential growth from 2010 to 2012. So we went from 10 people to 110 people.
Wow.
In 2 years. And I got cocky. I got proud. I forgot about my values. And as a result, I almost went bankrupt.
Wow.
And I almost had a heart attack. The doctor prescribed an angina. I had an angina. And it was terrible. My doctor told me, I'm going to give you this depression, these pills that you're going to get you addicted in 3 months. And then she said, but I suggest you change your lifestyle. And it made me realize, oh my God, what am I doing? I was working 17 hours a day. I was traveling every 3 weeks. I didn't see my family for those 2 years. My wife was completely abandoned, let alone my kids. I almost became an alcoholic, trying to cope with stress. And for nothing. And the funny part is that all the profits and all the gains from those 2 years, we lost them 4 months later because projects ended and they couldn't keep selling at that level, and it all went back in salaries, right? And I also.
So how did you recover? What did you do?
Well, I read a couple of books that's one thing that I changed. Like when I didn't know what to do, the first thing I did is I took a month off holiday, which is the first time I did it in my whole life, by the way. I never believed in vacations before. And I had time to relax and read, and I realized, oh my God, I had to apply the 80-20 rule in my life. So I quickly came back, fired 90% of my staff, I fired 90% of my clients, and I just kept the best people on both ends. And that clean start allowed me to start growing forward and gave me the time to work on myself. So 2013, the entire year, I did nothing but work on myself.
Wow. And how did your business survive when you weren't really paying attention?
Oh my God, it actually thrived. I was the obstacle, and also all the bad people that I led into my life and into the business.
So
when I left, everything started growing again.
Guys, if you're listening to this, listen, open your ears bigger, because this is probably the single most important message you could hear. If you are not well as the leader of your organization, your family, your community, your church, your whatever you participate in, if you are not well, nothing is well around you. It all suffers. Your job as a leader is to make sure you are super healthy, not only your body, but your mind as well.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And once that is working in good working order, that has a trickle-down effect. And you will see the results in your business, in profits, in culture, in the team you're surrounded by, in the awards you win, in your family reaction and structure, and in your sense of enjoyment and fun in life. You will see the results.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're with me, right?
I'm an example of that for sure. Like
you're an example of that. Wow, amazing.
It's funny because I thought like I needed to have all these millions of dollars to give back. The first thing that I implemented when I started transforming myself is a give back program, regardless of how many money we made. We just took a percentage of the money we made, and that decision was the pivot point in our culture. When I started doing that, my people started noticing, and everybody started changing with me.
Wow. And how did you handle firing so many people?
Oh, it was easy. They were terrible.
They were terrible anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So. David, it was such a pleasure having you on this podcast and learning from you and hearing your story. It was amazing. I loved it. And really, you could be a spokesperson for me. Maybe one day we'll talk about that. But it was amazing to just spend this time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kim, and blessings for doing this. And do send me the link. I would love to listen to the rest of the podcast too.
We will definitely do that. But there you go. Blessings for you too.
Cheers, Kim.
Cheers.
Bye.